Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. That's right, I said it. Why do I call it That's Right, I Said It? Because I say things on here that most people would consider embarrassing, right? Drug addiction, human weakness in general, men especially. Uh, Men are really bad about disclosing weakness in their lives, you know? And this is something that I've noticed, not just in myself, although as I get older, I tend to be more like an open book and have kind of come to the realization that that's how you become stronger, you know, admitting to your weaknesses. That's how you cope with those weaknesses, by admitting to them, opening up about them. You know, the first step in a 12-step program is what? Admitting that you have a problem. Because let's be real, if you don't admit that you have a problem, then what do you have to fix? It's a fair question. You know, if you can't admit to yourself, or if you can't admit to others, first and foremost, or yourself, that you have any issues and can't talk about those issues, then what reason do you have to search within yourself and search within your soul to fix those things that may be wrong in your life, you know? And that's kind of why I started this channel. And this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. You know, I have an almost 17-year-old son, and he's a very shy, introverted sort of young man. I kind of come from that background as well. But that's something, you know, I'm working on drawing out of him. You know, this kid literally has the inability to say, well, I feel this way, or that hurt my feelings because I feel this way, or because I feel that way. You know, and if ever he is backed into a corner and forced to talk about it, he gets super emotional. And it's one of those things where he just is not used to talking about things that are personal to him, you know, things that maybe hurt him or disappoint him or scare him, you know, frighten him. And it's not just my son, you know, this is a problem I see worldwide, you know, especially amongst our men. Our men have nothing or no one to talk to. And that's a big thing. I mean, you know, unless you're, you know, hooked into like a, you know, a good church or a psychotherapy group or something like that, when's the last time a man that you know sat down and just asked you, hey man, you know, how you doing? How are you feeling about life? You know, how do you feel today? How do you feel right now? Tell me how you feel. When's the last time a man sat down and did that? Or anybody sat down and did that with you? Without even knowing who you are, my guess is you probably can't remember the last time that happened with you. I know I can't remember the last time that happened with me. And it's kind of why I started this channel. It helps to talk about things, helps to get things off of your chest. And I was wanting to create like a kind of a support system, a forum on here where it's a judgment-free zone, where you can talk about these things. You can talk about your, you know, weaknesses, so that you can then identify those weaknesses, turn them into strengths, you know, whether that weakness is a drug addiction, an addiction to porn. Yeah, just come right out and say it, dude. What? It's like, shh, no, nobody say the P word. Nobody say the A word, the addiction word. That's no. That's taboo. Don't say that. Why? Why not? Do you know how many people you walk by and are within 5 feet of on a daily basis who secretly struggle with some sort of addiction, whether it be to a substance, gambling, pornography? I mean, the list of things that social media, video games, I mean, I can just go on and on. The list literally goes on and on. And I wanted to develop a place where it's okay for you to say those things, bro. It does not make you weak. It does not make you lesser of a person, because that addiction or that struggle that you have, that is not who you are. It is something that you do and something that affects you and those around you. But before you are your addiction, or before you are your weakness, you are a father, a mother, a brother, sister, employee, son, daughter, aunt, uncle. The list goes on and on of all these wonderful things that you are before that addiction. Okay? And a lot of people are putting the wrong thing first. Right? They're letting those weaknesses and areas of frailty in their lives define them, and they're allowing it to define not only who they are currently, but what their next steps are. It's one thing to consider it in the moment, but to let it consume you and who you are to a point where it is affecting the steps you take after today and in your future. What kind of life is that? What kind of life is that to live? And so I get on here and I talk about a whole plethora of things. All of these are related to my frailties and weaknesses as a human being. I talk about my addiction to drugs. I've touched on, my addiction to pornography. I've touched on just the plethora of dishonest things and self-destructive behaviors that plagued me not only as a young man, but in my 20s and my 30s. And I talk about all these things on here. And that's why I call it, That's Right, I Said It. Because a lot of the things people hear me talk about, like, whoa, can't believe that guy said this. Can't believe he said that on a public platform where he has the potential for possibly millions of people to hear, But I tell you that there is strength in admitting it. There is strength in not only recognizing, but owning your weaknesses. Okay? And that's why I created this channel. You can get on here and you can jump in the comments and tell all of your darkest, deepest, not only desires, but your weaknesses and your frailties, your concerns about yourself, past, present, and future. You can talk about all of those things on here, and this is truly a judgment-free zone. All right? And what I wanted to talk about today, and for those of you who have been following me for a while, I go through periods of time where, I'll kind of tell stories about myself, a little bit about my background, just so that all of you guys out there know that, dude, you're not alone. You have support. All that fucked up stuff that you may have done in your past as a result of being addicted to something, this guy right here has done it all. And if I haven't done it all, I've done most of it. And I've already, been there, what do they say? Worn the t-shirt, written the book, read the book, You know, however you want to put it, I've been there, done that. And I'm standing here now as a 47-year-old man with a beautiful wife, beautiful family, a wonderful job, a beautiful home, blessed in spite of all of it. Now, why? I'm going to tell you why. Because I did not and have not let those things define me. Now, my self-destructive nature throughout the years, I've been my own worst enemy, right? I'm not a victim. I'm a victim of myself. You know, 99.9% of the bad and or negative things that have happened to me in my life have been a result of who? Ding, 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 ding. What do we have for him, Alex? Yeah, me. Exactly, me. And the sooner you realize that, and the sooner that you own that in your life, the sooner you can realize that those things are something you've done, but those things are not you, and those things do not define you. And at your core, and your principles, and your morals, and just who you are at the very center is so much more than that. You know this. You know this. Addicts are some of the most talented, creative, compassionate, loving people that walk the face of this earth. Yeah, got a problem with addiction. You know, they might depend on or cope by using some substance, you know, that helps alleviate stress and worry and anxiety in their life. Yeah, you know, some people use a substance. Some people use pornography, you know, to get that instant gratification. You know, some people have a gambling problem. Some people are addicted to food and weigh 400 pounds. Some people are addicted to social media and become depressed and anxious as a result of not being able to stop doing this on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, right? And no one is less than the other person. And those things are not you. And you do not let them define you. And that's why I'm here. I want to tell people that. So if what needs to happen to heal the world, I sound like Michael Jackson. Heal the world, make it a better place. Oh, sorry. That's a good song, man. I'm sorry, I love I'm having like a total like kumbaya moment over here. But that's what's in my heart. Despite being a drug addict, despite struggling with substance abuse all my life and addiction, what is in my heart is something completely different. You know, it's all love and compassion and wanting to see my fellow man and my fellow woman thrive, you know, and wanting to see everyone do well. And I do not wish ill will on anyone. And you guys know this about me because anytime I've ever had a salty person or a hater, you know, bitter jackass, and I've had a couple, you know, jump in the comments and say something hateful that I felt like could offend either myself or someone else, you're gone, dude. I don't roll like that here. You know, everyone's opinion is welcome on this channel, but the way in which you express that opinion is going to be edited, audited, and it is going to be my discretion as to whether I consider it respectful to the community guidelines here. So if you're a hater, if you're one of those people that's going to jump on and say something like, well, just stop being a selfish drug addict. Like, I know, I can't let it go. I had a guy say that a few weeks ago in one of my videos. That's all he said. It was a 30-minute video, and he gave a one-sentence response. Easy solution. Stop being a selfish drug addict. Being a drug addict is a choice. Oh, thank you, man. Wow, you know what? 47 years old, all of my life I've struggled with this addiction and, you know, and just coping with the difficulty of life in general. And now here you've come with this one sentence that has just brought so much purpose and perspective to my life. In fact, I don't even need to do this channel anymore. Dude, you've told me everything I need to know right there. Thank you so much. Of course, I'm being facetious. I blocked the shit out of that guy, you know, and that guy now doesn't have the ability to even make a comment on any of my videos, on any of my posts, you know, because I don't roll like that. You know, there's a way that we can admit our weaknesses and admit our frailties and get down to brass tacks, search within ourselves, figure out what these things are that we need to address without being just completely assholish and disrespectful to our fellow man. You know, and I'm all about going about it in the right way. I want people to feel encouraged when they're on here, you know, not shamed and put down. Because if anybody should be shamed or feel ashamed, it should be me, because I'm the one on here talking about all kinds of horrible shit that I used to do as a result of my drug addiction, including lying, including stealing medications from people. And I'm talking about in the first degree stealing too, as in I thought about it firsthand, planned it out in my head, how I could separate this person from their, you know, from their medications so that I could get in to steal some of their medications. I talk about those things on here, you know what? And there's empowerment in talking about it and owning it, you know? And I'm really big on my commenters on here. You know, I'm really big on my subscribers. I go to bat for you guys, and as you guys know, when you start to engage with the channel, I come alive, man. You know, I come alive when people start to engage, because that's why I made this channel. You know, I want this to be a place where you can jump in the comments and tell me a little bit about your story. And then that everybody can jump on and, you know, encourage you and say, hey, man, you're doing the right thing. Or in some cases, you know, maybe try this. Maybe try this a little different. Maybe if you haven't tried this, maybe this will work for you. You know, that sort of thing. And I'm not anti drugs on here. As you guys know, I take a little bit of kratom every day. I say a little bit. Sometimes it's a little more than others. You know, it's one of those things where I'm not a person who is completely anti-drugs and kratom. I think that there is a place, and anybody from a 12-step program who really believes in a 12-step program is probably going to jump on here, and, you know, they're going to be one of those haters that I end up blocking, block, delete, you know, because from that school of thought, there's no way to control drug use and substance abuse. I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, and I think if you're a person who, and you are at a place in your life where you can dose, as in medicinally, on something like kratom or something else that you get a benefit from, you know yourself better than any doctor knows you. Okay? And I've had doctors prescribe me things in my life and in my past that nearly freaking killed me. Okay? So I'll go with what I know, because the doctors who prescribe you this, that, and the other don't wake up with you every day and don't go to bed with you every night. And they don't know how you feel in your heart of heart, in your soul of souls. So I'm going to go with what I know. You know, I'm not throwing off on doctors. There's a place for those things, and doctors are necessary. And there's some doctors out there who really, really love what they do and are good at it and really take time to try to understand their patients and, you know, do some really good work as a result of that. So I'm not saying anything bad about physicians, okay? I'm not. Doctors are good. But I think there's a way, depending on what your relationship is with a certain substance, that maybe not all of us, but that some of us can be in a good place with that substance, you know? So because of the way I love the engagement on here, I got a really, really awesome comment yesterday, and I live for these comments, guys. When somebody jumps on and tells the story and like, hey man, I really appreciate what you do because this is my story and your videos have really helped me. You guys have no idea. For me, that's mind blowing, because I'm sitting here going, you know, me? I did this. You binge watched my videos? Like, why me? You know, because I'm just like everyone else out there, and everyone who's had a substance abuse problem. A lot of times, you know, our self-esteem, our self-reflection of ourselves sometimes is not that great. You know, so my first thought is, me. I did this. You're inspired by me, you know. And I do, you know, try to live a life that will be inspiring to other people. But again, as people who are addicted to things, we get this idea in our mind that we can't be good enough because we have this defect in our lives, while not considering that millions of other people out there who may not have an addiction to drugs have some sort of defect in another area of their lives. You know, it's like a 300-pound person who has an addiction to food and high blood pressure looking at me and judging me for being a drug addict. My argument is that I won't judge you, you don't judge me. You have your defects, you have your weaknesses, just like I do. Let's not judge each other. You know, that's not the way to improve. That's not the way to heal. That's not the way to heal one another. Okay? All right, so I'm already almost at 22 minutes just ranting, you know, on my soapbox. So I'm going to go ahead and get to this comment. So I got a comment yesterday. It says, I'm a firm believer that the universe puts you in the right place at the right time. The key is you have to pay attention. This next sentence is all capital letters. Thank you for being here for me in my right time, place. About 2 years ago, I was experiencing severe pain all over my body. I'm 67 now and have had to deal with endless issues my whole life. So this was no real surprise. But this was different. I actually thought it was the end of my life. I thought I was dying. I've never liked taking drugs and not being able to feel anything or being dependent on drugs. I found out about Kratom. It changed my life and turned everything around. But I've taken it every single day for a year and a half. Freaked me out to see admitted drug addicts on YouTube talking about addiction, but I didn't think that was going to be an issue with me. But then, in capital letters, I live in a high-rise and there was a water leak on the 14th floor, and I live on the 11th floor. Do I need to tell you that while they ripped out the walls and ceilings of the affected apartments, while I was packing up to leave, I looked at my package of Kratom and decided, I can do without it for a few days. I drink the Kratom in a tea that I might make every day. I had 4 16-ounce bottles I took with me to the hotel for that first night. At some point, I began feeling a little funny after a couple of days. Then I started having these feelings I can't even come up with the words to describe. I was screaming with my face buried in the towel. It only seemed to affect me when I was laying down. For the first time in my life, I understood addiction. On about the 5th day, I ended up going back to my apartment building at night, taking the seal off of my front door the contractors had put on that night, and pulling back layers of plastic sheeting. My apartment and all its contents were covered by to get to my Kratom. I put everything back as best as I could so they wouldn't know I had been there. Needless to say, brewing my Kratom tea that night fixed everything, but I knew I was in a huge mess. That was less than a couple of weeks ago, and I knew things had to change. Even so, I've just been in a panic about it and have not cut back. As a matter of fact, if I have to admit it, I probably have increased. But now, I've seen your video, and I've heard your story. While I don't have a baby on the way, I have big things that are happening, and I've got to get to work on them now. Seeing your video has inspired me and fortified me, and I've got to draw the line now, capital letters. Thank you for sending me this message and inspiring me to commit. I really hope that you get to see this comment and to know how important you are to make change in people needing that nudge and direction. I'm not going to say this guy's name, and I hope, my friend that wrote me this comment, I hope you don't mind if you see this video as well. I hope you don't mind that I referenced you in your comment in this video, because I'm telling you guys right now, this right here, this is the reason. This right here is the reason that I started this channel, and the reason that I wanted to do this channel. This guy's story right here, that's the whole reason. If you're good with your kratom use, if you're good where you are, who am I to argue with that? Who am I to judge you for that? I currently still take kratom, and that's why I say, when I saw this, I was like, wait, what, me? I've done this. I've inspired you like this, really? Because here I am still taking kratom. I mean, I decreased my amount by a lot a little while back, and I guess that shows that it's something that I'm constantly concerned about, and something that I'm always addressing and then readdressing in my life, because I do decrease my tolerance from time to time so that I just don't become overboard with it. Everything has to be in moderation. But the fact that I can affect people in this way and cause people who need that little nudge and direction, who may be going off the rails or maybe going off the deep end with something, if I can affect people in that way, then bro, that is everything to me. Absolutely everything to me. And it's why I do this, because even as an addict, I have that kind of heart for people, and I want people to feel empowered. I want people to realize that you can achieve anything and you can accomplish anything if you just truly put your mind to it. And I know it sounds like a cliche, we've heard that story a million times. There's a reason you've heard it a million times, because it's true, And so if you're good with where you are in your kratom use or your use of some other substance, hey, that's your relationship with that substance. You're the one that has to wake up with yourself, go to bed with yourself at night. So who am I to judge you for what your current relationship is with anything? Right? But if you're not, maybe this video or maybe one of my videos can nudge you, or push you in the right direction to get better or to get help, And I had another guy, when I looked at his comment this morning, told me that my videos had really helped him since he's been going through kratom withdrawal. The dude told me he'd been binging my videos. I'm like, what? Am I seeing this correctly? Like, binging my videos? I'm just some guy on his lunch breaks, sitting in his car. I work at 8 to 5, man. What? I'm just a regular guy. And that's what I want you guys to get in your head right now. We're all just regular guys. And even these people that you see, and that's why I don't do edits and all that stuff, because I want you to know that I'm just a regular guy doing what you do from day to day, on my own grind, on my own journey in life. And I'm sharing with you the things that I have figured out, the things that I've not figured out, and the things that I would really love to figure out. And I learn from you guys too. But when somebody sends me a message like this or tells me that they've been binging my videos and it's really helped them to get through a tough spot in their life, that is, man, I'm speechless. I'm really speechless about that, and I really appreciate that outpouring. And the channel has been growing some recently, and I'm just so appreciative to you guys. I really mean that. And subscribe to the channel. Put a like down below and put a comment. I engage with my audience, guys. I really do. You guys know that. And others on here will engage with you as well. But I want to know your story. I learned from you guys. I want to know your story. We want to know your story. You have support here. So, you know, if you've been watching my videos, if you enjoy this sort of format, a guy just being real with you, subscribe to the channel. It helps me. And I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.